The steam from the showers hung thick in the air of the university gym locker room, a haze that blurred the lines between privacy and exposure. I was toweling off after a brutal workout, my mind replaying the day's frustrations. Another failed attempt to blend in with the straight crowd. When the door swung open, there stood my roommate, Jake, his eyes widening as they locked onto the small rainbow pin I'd forgotten to remove from my gym bag. A silent confession I'd kept hidden for years, and in that split second, the world I'd built came crashing down. Jake froze, his gym duffel slipping from his shoulder. "Alex? What the hell is that?" His voice echoed off the tiled walls, sharp and accusatory, but beneath it lurked something I couldn't place. Curiosity, maybe, or fear. We'd been roommates for 2 semesters at UCLA, sharing late-night pizzas and study sessions, him the star quarterback with a string of girlfriends, me the quiet film major burying my secrets deep. I stammered, trying to laugh it off as a joke from a friend, but his gaze drilled into me, unyielding. As I shoved the pin back into my bag, my heart pounded like a drum in my chest. Jake wasn't the type to let things slide. He was all about confrontation, the guy who led team huddles with iron resolve. "Dude, are you?" He trailed off, stepping closer, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows on his face. I nodded, barely, the admission ripping through me like a knife. Expecting a punch or a storm out, I braced myself, but instead he sat on the bench, rubbing his temples. "This changes things, man." That night, back in our cramped dorm room overlooking the bustling campus quad, the tension was palpable. Jake paced, his football cleats still laced up from practice. "How long have you known?" he asked, his voice softer now, almost vulnerable. I told him everything, the confusion in high school, the crushes I'd crushed down, the fear of my conservative family back in Texas finding out. He listened, really listened, without interrupting, which was unlike him. By midnight, we'd cracked open a couple of beers, the conversation shifting from my secrets to his own pressures. The expectations from his dad, a former NFL scout, to be the perfect straight arrow son. But as the weeks unfolded, subtle shifts began. Jake started skipping his usual frat parties, opting instead for movie nights with me. We'd debate plots over popcorn, our laughter filling the room, but I'd catch him glancing my way a beat too long. One evening, after a particularly intense film about forbidden love, he turned to me. "You ever think about what it'd be like if things were different?" His words hung in the air, charged. I swallowed hard, my mind racing with possibilities and pitfalls. Was this flirtation, or just allyship? The line blurred, and I knew pursuing it could shatter our friendship. Meanwhile, the campus buzzed with its own dramas. Rumors swirled about a gay student being outed in a sorority prank, leading to protests and heated debates in the student union. I joined a support group, finding solace in shared stories, but Jake's presence loomed large in my thoughts. He began defending LGBTQ rights in casual conversations with his teammates, earning side eyes and whispers. "Why do you care so much?" one asked. Jake shrugged it off, but I saw the toll. His easy smile fading, replaced by furrowed brows. Then came the first real test. My parents visited for Parents' Weekend, their Texas drawl clashing with the California vibe. Dad, a stern oil executive, grilled me on my prospects, while Mom fussed over my single status. Jake played the perfect roommate, charming them with football tales. But when Dad made an offhand homophobic joke about a campus banner, Jake's jaw tightened. Later, alone, he confronted me. "How do you deal with that crap?" I admitted it ate at me, the constant masking. In that moment, his hand brushed mine, a spark igniting something dangerous. As the file of our story built, so did the internal storm. I wrestled with guilt. Was I reading too much into his signals? Jake, too, seemed torn, his late-night texts confessing doubts about his own identity. "What if I've been wrong about myself?" one read. The pressure mounted, society's invisible chains pulling us apart even as we drew closer. Decisions loomed, each carrying a price. Honesty versus harmony, love versus loss. The campus gym became our unspoken sanctuary, where glances lingered in mirrors and conversations deepened amid clanging weights. But whispers followed us, teammates questioning Jake's new buddy. One night, after a loss on the field, Jake exploded in frustration, blaming distractions. "This is messing with my head, Alex," he shouted in our room. I felt the sting, the fear that my truth was poisoning his life. Yet, in the quiet aftermath, he apologized, pulling me into a hug that felt like home and heartbreak. The hug lingered in my mind like a forbidden melody, replaying as I navigated the bustling UCLA hallways the next day. Classes blurred into a haze of lectures on ethics and identity, mirroring my own turmoil. Jake avoided me that morning, grabbing coffee solo, his absence a void that screamed louder than words. By afternoon, guilt gnawed at me. Had I pushed too far, interpreting friendship as something more? In the library, buried in film theory books, I overheard a group discussing the latest campus scandal. A professor outed by a vindictive ex, facing backlash from conservative donors. It hit close, reminding me of the stakes. My phone buzzed. "Jake, meet me at the quad. Need to talk." Heart racing, I hurried over, finding him on a bench, staring at the fountain spray. "Last night was weird," he started, avoiding my eyes, but not in a bad way. I feel something." His confession shattered the dam. We talked for hours, voices low amid picnicking students. Jake admitted confusion. Years of locker room banter shaping his straight facade, but recent doubts cracking it. "You're the first person who sees me, Alex. Not the quarterback, just me." My chest tightened. This was real but terrifying. What about his team, his family? Mine? The societal microscope on athletes like him amplified every risk. That evening, we shared our first tentative kiss under the quad's oak trees, shadows dancing in the sunset. It was electric, a release of pent-up emotion, but laced with fear. "This stays between us," Jake whispered, his breath warm. I agreed, though doubt crept in. Secrets breed shadows. As we walked back, hand in hand briefly before parting, I felt alive, yet exposed. The next days were a whirlwind of stolen moments. Late-night drives along the Pacific Coast Highway, sharing dreams and fears. Jake opened up about his dad's relentless pressure. Be a man, win games, date girls. I shared my own battles, the letters from home urging me to find a nice girl. Our bond deepened, but cracks appeared. Jake's performance on the field dipped. Coaches noticed, benching him for a game. Teammates ribbed him. Distracted by that film geek? He laughed it off, but I saw the hurt. One weekend, we attended a discreet LGBTQ mixer off campus, blending into the crowd. There, amid laughter and stories, Jake relaxed, holding my hand under the table. But a familiar face spotted us. Mark, a teammate. Panic flashed in Jake's eyes. Act normal, he muttered, dropping my hand. Mark approached, chatting casually, but his smirk said he knew. Later, Jake freaked. If this gets out, I'm done. Scholarship, everything. The betrayal stung. His quick detachment a reminder of our unequal footing. I confronted him back at the dorm. Am I just your secret experiment? He denied it, pulling me close, but the seed of doubt sprouted. Meanwhile, my family pressures escalated. A call from Dad. Heard about that gay stuff on campus. Stay away from it, son. The irony burned. As tensions rose, Jake made a choice. He confided in his best friend, Tyler, swearing him to secrecy. Tyler's reaction was mixed, supportive but wary. Man, if the team finds out. It was a risk, but Jake felt lighter. For me, it was progress, a step toward authenticity. Yet, society's judgment loomed, articles in the campus paper debating athlete inclusivity fueling debates. Our relationship evolved into quiet routines. Studying together, cooking simple meals, sharing playlists. But the internal conflicts intensified. I questioned my worth. Was I worth the risk? Jake battled guilt, torn between love and legacy. One night, after a heated argument over visibility, he stormed out, leaving me in silence. He returned hours later, rain-soaked, eyes red. I can't lose you, but I can't lose myself either. We reconciled, but the fragility was evident. The price of our love was mounting, sleepless nights, strained friendships. As the semester dragged on, a bigger storm brewed. Jake's dad planned a surprise visit, unaware of the truth simmering beneath. Jake's dad arrived unannounced, his pickup truck roaring into the visitor lot like a thunderclap. Mr. Harlan, broad-shouldered and opinionated, clapped Jake on the back with a booming laugh. "Missed you, kid. Let's grab steaks and talk ball." I hovered in the background, introduced as the roommate, my presence barely acknowledged. Over dinner at a local diner, Mr. Harlan dominated, ranting about woke culture ruining sports. Jake nodded along, his eyes flicking to me apologetically. Back at the dorm, the air thickened. Mr. Harlan crashed on our futon, his snores a barrier between us. Jake whispered goodnight from his bed, our usual closeness impossible. The next day, they hit the field for a father-son toss, leaving me to stew in isolation. When they returned, Mr. Harlan eyed me suspiciously. "You two seem tight. No girls in the picture." Jake deflected with jokes, but the strain showed. That evening, alone while Mr. Harlan watched TV, Jake pulled me aside. "This is hell. I hate pretending." I urged patience, but inside, resentment built. Why was his fear dictating our lives? The visit culminated in a campus tour, where Mr. Harlan spotted a pride flag. "Disgusting," he muttered. Jake stayed silent, the omission a knife twist for me. After Mr. Harlan left, the fallout hit. "Why didn't you say something?" I demanded. Jake exploded. "Because he's my dad. You don't get it. He pays for everything." The argument escalated, words like weapons. "Maybe this was a mistake," he said, storming out again. Alone, I questioned everything, my identity, our future. Reconciliation came slowly. Jake apologized, admitting his cowardice. "I need time to figure this out." We agreed to space, but it ached. Campus life marched on. I threw myself into film projects, capturing stories of hidden lives. Jake refocused on football, his plays sharper, but his texts revealed turmoil. "Miss you. Scared." Then betrayal struck. Tyler, under pressure from the team, leaked our secret during a drunken party. Whispers turned to shouts. Jake confronted by coaches, teammates shunning him. "Fag lover," one scrawled on his locker. He called me in tears. "It's out. Everything's ruined." I rushed over, finding him broken, the weight of society's scorn crushing him. We faced the storm together, but divisions deepened. Jake's scholarship teetered. My parents caught wind through a cousin at UCLA, demanding answers. "Is this true, Alex? You're disappointing us." The calls were brutal, laced with Bible quotes and ultimatums. I defended myself, but the emotional toll mounted, sleeplessness, anxiety. In the midst of chaos, a moment of clarity. We attended a rally for LGBTQ rights, Jake speaking anonymously. "Love shouldn't cost your dreams," he said. It was brave but anonymous, still hiding. I pushed for more. "Come out fully." He hesitated, the moral dilemma tearing him. Loyalty to family versus self-truth. As conflicts peaked, Jake made a drastic choice. He quit the team, citing personal reasons. The decision shocked everyone, freeing him but isolating him further. "For us," he said, but I saw the regret. The price was steep, lost friends, strained family ties. Our love survived, but scarred. Quitting the team was Jake's ultimate sacrifice, a declaration that rippled through his life like a shockwave. Coaches begged him to reconsider. Teammates alternated between anger and confusion. "You're throwing it all away for what?" Tyler asked, their friendship fractured. Jake stood firm, but nights found him staring at the ceiling, mourning the field he loved. For me, it was bittersweet. His commitment validated our bond, but guilt weighed heavy. You didn't have to, I said. He shrugged. Yes, I did. Hiding was killing me. We moved off campus to a tiny apartment in Westwood, escaping dorm scrutiny. There, in our own space, love bloomed amid the debris. Quiet dinners, shared dreams of a future unbound by expectations. But society's claws dug deep. Job interviews for Jake turned awkward when gaps in his resume prompted questions. Why leave football? He'd evade, but suspicion lingered. My film internship suffered too, whispers about my lifestyle affecting collaborations. We leaned on each other, but resentment simmered. Why must we pay so dearly for authenticity? Family fractures widened. Jake's dad cut him off financially, calling him a disgrace. Harsh words exchanged over phone. I raised you better. Jake hung up, tears streaming. The paternal bond severed. My parents followed suit, disinviting me from holidays. Until you straighten out, Mom said, her voice cracking. The isolation stung, holidays spent alone, toasting to survival. Amid the pain, awakenings emerged. Jake volunteered at an LGBTQ youth center, mentoring kids facing similar struggles. This is bigger than us, he said. I poured my experiences into a short film, screening it at a festival to acclaim and controversy. Critics debated, empowerment or exploitation. The exposure brought allies but also trolls, online hate testing our resolve. One night, a heated debate with old friends turned ugly. They accused Jake of faking it for attention, me of corrupting him. We left, shaken, questioning if love was worth the war. In bed, Jake held me. It is. We're fighting for something real. But doubts persisted, the moral quandary of imposing change on loved ones. As high tension built, a pivotal confrontation loomed. Jake's sister, Emily, visited, the only family member still speaking to him. Supportive but concerned, she urged reconciliation. Dad misses you. Give him time. Jake wavered, the pull of blood strong. I felt threatened. Would he regress for peace? The visit ended in tears. Emily revealed Dad's health scare, softening Jake. Maybe I should go home. Panic surged in me. And hide us again? The argument exposed rifts, his desire for family versus our truth. He chose to visit alone, a decision that felt like betrayal. While gone, I spiraled, friends advising caution, protect yourself. Upon return, Jake was changed. Dad had listened somewhat. He's trying. Hope flickered, but caution remained. The price of progress. Ongoing negotiation, endless compromises. Jake's trip home marked a turning point, but not without cost. He returned with tentative optimism. Dad promised therapy, a step toward acceptance. But the visit unearthed old wounds. He still thinks it's a phase. We celebrated small wins, but the shadow of conditional love loomed. Campus life evolved. Our story inspired some, alienated others. A support group formed around us, sharing tales of similar battles. Yet, personal tolls mounted. Jake's depression deepened, therapy sessions revealing suppressed trauma. I battled anxiety, meds helping but not erasing the fear of loss. A major conflict arose. A job offer for me in New York, a dream gig in film. Take it, Jake encouraged, but relocation meant separation. What about us? I asked. He proposed moving together, but his fledgling coaching job tied him to LA. The choice tore at us, career versus coupledom. Debates raged. Don't sacrifice for me, he said, but I saw his own dreams deferred. In a moment of raw honesty, Jake admitted, sometimes I wonder if I'd be happier straight. The words gutted me, a betrayal of our foundation. Then go, I snapped, storming out. Reconciliation demanded soul-searching. We sought counseling, unpacking layers of societal conditioning. Love requires work, the therapist said. We committed, but scars lingered. Meanwhile, societal shifts offered glimmers. A Supreme Court ruling on protections, campus policies evolving. But personal betrayals persisted. An ex-teammate outed Jake publicly via social media, sparking a media frenzy. Reporters hounded us, twisting our story into sensationalism. Jake's privacy shattered, job lost. "This is the price," he said bitterly. I stood by him, but resentment toward the world grew. In a defiant act, we went public with an interview controlling the narrative. "We're just two guys in love," Jake stated. Backlash ensued, threats, disownments, but support flooded in, donations to charities. The awakening was profound. Our pain fueled change. As climax neared, a final test. My parents reached out, inviting dialogue. Skeptical, I went, Jake by my side. Tensions flared, accusations, tears, but breakthroughs emerged. "We love you," Dad admitted, the words a balm. The reconciliation with my parents was fragile, a bridge built on shaky ground. We left Texas with promises of ongoing talks, but the emotional exhaustion was immense. Back in LA, Jake and I reflected on the journey. The shocks, sacrifices, awakenings. "We've paid dearly," he said, "but look what we've gained. Our lives stabilized." I took the New York job remotely. Jake found purpose in advocacy. We married quietly, a small ceremony with allies, defying odds. But scars remained, lost relationships, lingering doubts. Society progressed, but pockets of prejudice persisted, reminding us vigilance was key. In quiet moments, we debated choices. Was quitting football right? Hiding initially wrong? The moral ambiguities fueled growth. Jake mentored more youth. I produced films amplifying voices. Our story became a beacon, but at what cost? Years on, challenges continued. Adopting a child, facing biases, career hurdles from discrimination. Yet, love endured, a testament to resilience. We learned that truth liberates, but demands payment in pain. Looking back, the locker room moment was the spark, a sock that ignited transformation. But was the fire worth the burns? In the end, was coming out always the right choice, or does society force the hand, making authenticity a battle rather than a birthright? Was forcing Jake to choose between his dreams and our love ultimately fair? Or should love adapt to life's constraints without demanding total sacrifice?